Aka entrusted the baby girl to Honor's care, making her promise never to reveal the girl's true identity. Back at the palace, Omalugo anxiously awaited news of her daughter. When Waka returned, she lied to Omalugo, claiming she had abandoned the baby in a distant village. Heartbroken, Omalugo wept, but Queen Nkechi and Waka urged her to stay strong and keep their secret hidden. Once upon a time, in the land of Ezira, there was a handsome prince named Nweze. He was kind and fair, loved by all in the kingdom. Prince Nweze lived in a big palace with his parents, King Ojatu and Queen Nkechi. He also had a beautiful sister named Princess Ihe, which means light. Their family was very loving, and they cared for their people deeply. Many maidens in the village dreamed of marrying Prince Nweze. But in Ezira, there was a tradition. The prince could only choose his wife on the day of a special dance ceremony. Until then, he could not know any woman. The village buzzed with excitement as the day of the dance drew near. Maidens prepared their best clothes, practiced their dances, and adorned themselves with flowers and jewels. Everyone wanted to catch the eye of Prince Nweze. Finally, the day arrived. The royal family and all the villagers gathered in the palace courtyard. The air was filled with music and laughter as the maidens danced gracefully, hoping to win the prince's heart. Prince Nweze watched each maiden carefully, trying to decide who would be his bride. At last, he stood up and walked towards a maiden named Omalugo. She blushed as he took her hand and smiled at her. The crowd erupted into cheers and applause as Prince Nweze announced his choice. King Ujatu and Queen Nkechi smiled proudly at their son. They blessed the couple and wished them happiness. Some maidens felt jealous and left in a huff, but the joy of the celebration continued. Prince Nweze and Omalugo danced together, surrounded by their friends and family. As the sun set, the villagers returned to their homes, happy and full of hope for the future. After the dance ceremony, the traditional wedding of Prince Nweze and Omalugo was a grand affair. The whole village came together to celebrate their union. The palace was adorned with colorful decorations and music filled the air as the couple exchanged vows. Once married, Omalugo moved into the palace with Prince Nweze. The royal family welcomed her with open arms, ensuring she felt loved and comfortable in her new home. Prince Nweze showered Omalugo with affection, and she quickly became a beloved member of the royal family. As time passed, Omalugo discovered she was pregnant. The news filled the palace with joy and excitement. Everyone eagerly awaited the arrival of the royal baby, hoping for a healthy heir to the throne. Queen Nkechi, Prince Wenze's mother, took special care of Omalugo during her pregnancy. She made sure Omalugo ate nutritious meals and received the best care possible. Omalugo felt grateful for the love and attention she received from the queen and everyone else in the palace. One day, as Prince Nweze and Omalugo sat together in their chamber, they talked about their hopes for their baby. Prince Nweze expressed his desire for a daughter, while Omalugo playfully insisted she wanted a son. They laughed and teased each other, their hearts filled with anticipation for the arrival of their little one. The palace buzzed with excitement as the due date drew near. Everyone eagerly awaited the sound of a baby's cry, signaling the beginning of a new chapter for the royal family. 9 months passed swiftly, and soon Omalugo went into labor. The palace nurses and midwife hurried to her side, their hearts racing with anticipation. They whisked Omalugo away to the delivery chamber, leaving Prince Weze and Princess Ihe outside, their faces etched with worry and fear. Inside the chamber, Omalugo cried out in pain, her voice echoing through the palace walls. Queen Nkechi, Prince Wenze's mother, was the only one allowed to be with her. She held Omalugo's hand tightly, offering words of comfort as the labor pains intensified. Outside, Prince Wenze paced anxiously, his heart pounding with every passing moment. Suddenly, a cry pierced the air, signaling the arrival of the first baby. Prince Wence's face lit up with joy as he heard the sound. In the delivery chamber, Queen Nkechi smiled as the newborn baby was placed in her arms. But her joy was cut short when the midwife whispered a troubling revelation. Omalugo was expecting twins. Queen Nkechi's heart sank as she realized the consequences of the news. In the land of Ezira, twins were considered a taboo, and the village elders would demand their lives. Desperate to protect daughter-in-law and the newborns, Queen Nkechi made a decision. As Omalugo screamed in pain again, the midwife rushed to her side, delivering the second baby, a little girl. Tears streamed down Omalugo's face as she and the queen exchanged worried glances. They knew they had to act fast to save the newborns. In secret, Queen Nkechi and Omalugo devised a plan. They instructed the midwife to take the baby girl far away from the village, where she would be safe from harm. Under the cover of night, the midwife carried out their plan, disappearing into the darkness with the newborn princess. Meanwhile, back at the palace, Queen Nkechi and Omalugo presented the newborn princess to King Ujatu and Prince Nweze. The royal family rejoiced at the arrival of the heir to the throne, unaware of the heartbreaking truth hidden beneath their celebration. The next day, the village gathered to celebrate the birth of their prince. Omalugo retreated to her chambers, her heart heavy with sorrow for the daughter she had been forced to give away. She wept in silence, knowing that her secret could never be revealed, lest it bring doom upon her innocent child. The midwife, Nwaka, swiftly carried the newborn princess away from the palace, her heart heavy with the weight of the secret she now carried. She journeyed to a distant village where her sister Ona lived alone. Ona had suffered great tragedy, losing her husband and children in a fire. She lived as an outcast, craving companionship. Nwaka pleaded with Ona to care for the princess, revealing the truth of her birth. Though hesitant at first, Ona ultimately agreed, longing for the company of the innocent child. Nwaka entrusted the baby girl to Ona's care, making her promise never to reveal the girl's true identity. Back at the palace, Omalugo anxiously awaited news of her daughter. When Nwaka returned, she lied to Omalugo, claiming she had abandoned the baby in a distant village. Heartbroken, Omalugo wept, but Queen Nkechi and Waka urged her to stay strong and keep their secret hidden. Meanwhile, in the village of Etiti, Ona embraced her new role as guardian to the little princess, whom she named Odira. Despite the villagers' curiosity about the baby, no one dared to question Ona about her origins. Back at the palace, life returned to normalcy as people from neighboring kingdoms visited to celebrate the birth of the prince. On the day of the prince's naming ceremony, the villagers gathered as King Ujatu proudly declared his grandson's name to be Prince Ifesinachi. Laughter and joy filled the air as they celebrated the new addition to the royal family. Time flew so fast, and 15 years had passed since the birth of Prince Ifesinachi. However, tragedy struck the kingdom of Izira when King Ujatu fell ill and passed away suddenly. Queen Nkechi, overcome with grief, followed her husband in death, leaving the kingdom in mourning. Prince Mweze and Queen Omalugo was devastated by the loss of their parents, but they knew they had to stay strong for the sake of the kingdom. Princess Ihe, who had married and moved to another village, returned to Ezira to mourn with her family. The villagers gathered to pay their respects, offering condolences to the royal family. Prince Ifesinachi, deeply affected by the loss of his grandparents, found solace in the arms of his parents and Princess Ihe. Weeks passed, and life in the village slowly returned to normal. With the throne vacant, Prince Nweze knew he had to ascend to the role of king. The day of his coronation arrived, and amidst a mixture of sadness and hope, Prince Nweze was crowned the new king of Izira, following in his father's footsteps. Queen Omalugo stood by his side, her presence bringing comfort and strength. Prince Ifesinachi, now the crown prince, watched with pride as his father took on his new role. The villagers rejoiced, celebrating the dawn of a new era in the kingdom of Izira. Princess Ihe and her husband joined in the festivities, their hearts filled with love and support for their family. As King Weze accepted the mantle of leadership, he pledged to rule with wisdom and compassion, just as his father had done before him. Queen Omalugo stood by his side, offering her unwavering support as they embarked on this new journey together. With joy in their hearts, the royal family embraced their newfound responsibilities, united in their commitment to serve the people of Izira with love and dedication. In the quiet village of Etiti, Princess Odira blossomed under the loving care of Ona. Despite the absence of riches, their home was filled with warmth and happiness. Odira, now a beautiful 15-year-old girl, was tall and graceful and always wore a radiant smile. Ona, though not her birth mother, showered Odira with endless love and affection. She kept the truth of Odira's royal heritage hidden, fulfilling her promise to Waka, the midwife. Odira adored Ona and followed her everywhere, helping with chores and learning from her wisdom. One day, while returning from the market, Odira encountered some village children who taunted her, calling her hurtful names. Heartbroken, she ran home in tears, seeking comfort from Ona. That night, Odira, bravery, confronted Ona, demanding to know the truth about her father. Honor with a heavy heart lied, telling Odira that her father and siblings had perished in a tragic accident. She urged Odira to ignore the cruel words of other children and to stand up for herself. Empowered by Honor's words, Odira found the courage to face her bullies. She stood tall, speaking words of wisdom and kindness, and soon became known as the wise one among the village children. They sought her advice and guidance, and in turn, Odira found friendship and laughter. The villagers grew fond of Odira, admiring her strength and wisdom at such a young age. Honor too found acceptance among the other women in the village as they bonded over their love for Odira and their shared experiences. Despite the challenges she faced, Odira's spirit remained unbroken. With Honor's love and guidance, she embraced her role as a source of inspiration and hope for the people of Ititi. And as each day passed, Odira's light shone brighter, illuminating the heart of all who knew her. And Princess Odira blossomed into a stunning 20-year-old woman. Her beauty, revealing the morning sun. Throughout those years, she remained by Honor's side, caring for her with unwavering love and devotion. But one day, tragedy struck. Odira returned from the farm to find Honor convulsing in bed. She rushed to her side, holding her hand tightly as Honor calmed down. With tears in her eyes, Honor spoke to Odira, her voice weak but filled with urgency. She entrusted Odira with a solemn task to journey to Ezira village and seek out Nwaka the midwife. She told Odira to tell Nwaka that her name was Odira and that Honor had sent her. Odira promised to fulfill Honor's dying wish, though her heart ached with grief at the thought of losing her beloved mother. As Odira held Honor's hand, her dear friend passed away, leaving behind a void that seemed impossible to fill. The villagers gathered to mourn Honor's passing, offering comfort and support to Odira as they laid Honor to rest. Days later, Odira gathered her courage and set out for Ezira village. With each step, she felt a mixture of fear and determination swelling within her. She was scared of what she might find at the king's palace, but determined to honor Honor's last wish. As she walked along the dusty road, thoughts of Honor filled her mind, giving her strength to continue on her journey. She knew she had a promise to keep, and nothing would stand in her way as she ventured into the unknown. Upon her arrival at the palace, Odira's heart sank when she learned that Waka, the midwife, and her last hope had passed away 2 years ago. The news shattered her, leaving her feeling lost and alone in the world. Tears filled her eyes as she contemplated her next move, uncertain of where to go or what to do. As she turned to leave, Queen Ojugo, touched by Odira's plight, called her back. She offered Odira a chance to stay at the palace and work as a maid, instead of returning to her village. Grateful for the queen's kindness, Odira accepted the offer, finding solace in the prospect of having a roof over her head. With the help of another maid, Odira settled into her new life at the palace. She joined the other maids in their daily chores, grateful for the distraction from her grief. However, her heart still felt heavy with sadness for Honor. The next morning, as Odira walked alongside the other maids, Prince Ifesinachi passed by. Immediately drawn to Odira's beauty, he struck up a conversation with her, asking who she was. Nervously, Odira introduced herself as the new maid, her heart fluttering at the prince's attention. Prince Ifesinachi smiled warmly at her, complimenting her beauty. Odira blushed and stammered out a thank you, feeling both flattered and nervous in the prince's presence. As the prince walked away, Odira couldn't help but feel a flutter of excitement in her chest. Later, Prince Ifesinachi approached his mother, Queen Ojugo, and expressed his desire for Odira to become his personal maid. Intrigued by her son's interest, the queen agreed and summoned Odira. She gave her instructions to serve only the prince, leaving Odira both surprised and grateful for the opportunity. From that day on, Odira served Prince Ifesinachi faithfully, their bond growing stronger with each passing day. Despite their difference in status, they became close friends, sharing secrets and laughter in the quiet moments they stole away together. But their friendship remained a secret, hidden from the praying eyes of the palace. As days turned into weeks, whispers of gossip began to swell within the palace walls. The other maids, fueled by jealousy and spite, spread rumors of an affair between Prince Ifesinachi and Odira. The tales reached Queen Ojugo's ears, and she wasted no time in summoning her son to address the accusations. With a heavy heart, the queen questioned Prince Ifesinachi about the truth behind the gossip. He vehemently denied the allegations, insisting that there was nothing between him and Odira. Disappointed but willing to give her son the benefit of doubt, the queen made a decision. She ordered that Odira cease serving the prince personally to avoid any further speculation. However, the prince refused to comply with his mother's directive, adamant that only Odira could serve him. This defiance strained the relationship between mother and son, causing tension to simmer beneath the surface. Soon, the issue reached the ears of King Weze, who summoned his son for a private discussion. Concerned about the potential scandal and the difference in social status between the prince and Odira, the king urged his son to heed his mother's advice and distance himself from the maid. Feeling torn between his love for Odira and his duty to his family, Prince Ifesinachi reluctantly agreed to comply with his parents' wishes. However, he couldn't bear the thought of losing Odira completely. Under the cover of darkness, he continued to meet with her in secret. Their clandestine meetings filled with longing and forbidden passion. One fateful night, Prince Ifesinachi poured out his heart to Odira, confessing his love for her despite the obstacles that stood in their way. Frightened by the implications of their forbidden romance, Odira hesitated, knowing that their love could never be accepted by the king and queen. Torn between their love for each other and the expectations of their families, Prince Ifesinachi vowed to protect Odira at all costs, promising to stand by her side no matter what challenges lay ahead. And as they held each other in the moonlight night, their hearts intertwined in a bond that could not be broken by the constraints of society. Underneath the blanket of stars, Prince Ifesinachi and Odira met in their usual spot, unaware of the praying eyes that watched from afar. A palace guard stumbled upon their secret rendezvous and wasted no time in reporting his findings to the king and queen. Summoned before Queen Odira trembled with fear as she admitted to her clandestine meetings with Prince Ifesinachi. Her confession sparked the king's fury, and without hesitation, he ordered his guards to seize Odira. Terrified and helpless, Odira endured a brutal punishment at the hands of the palace guards before being thrown into the darkness of the palace prison. Her cries for mercy fell on deaf ears as she languished in despair, longing for the freedom she once knew. Meanwhile, Prince Ifesinachi returned from his royal studies, eager to reunite with Odira, but his hopes were shattered when he learned of her arrest from the other maids. Fueled by anger and desperation, he confronted his parents, demanding Odira's release. But his pleas fell on deaf ears as the king erupted in a fit of rage, hurling threats and insults at his son. Crushed by his father's harsh words, Prince Ifesinachi fled to the prison, his heart heavy with sorrow. However, the guards stationed at the prison refused to grant him access, citing the king's orders. Desperate and distraught, Prince Ifesinachi felt powerless to help the woman he loved. Inside the cold confines of her cell, Odira wept bitterly, longing for the warmth of honor's embrace, but the walls echoed with silence, offering no solace to her shattered spirit. As the darkness closed in around them, both Odira and Prince Ifesinachi found themselves trapped in a web of betrayal and heartache, their once promising love now overshadowed by the cruel hand of fate. The sun rose on another day in the kingdom of Ezira, casting its warm glow over the palace walls. Inside, a sense of anticipation filled the air as preparations were made for the arrival of a special guest. Princess Oma from the neighboring village of Umudiki had been invited to Ezira by King Weze and Queen Omalugo. As the daughter of one of King Weze's closest friends, her visit was met with great excitement and anticipation. When Princess Oma arrived at the palace, she was greeted with warmth and hospitality by the king and queen. They welcomed her with open arms, offering her food and drink and making her feel at home in their kingdom. Princess Oma's kingdom of Umudiki was known for its grandeur and beauty, and she herself was a princess of remarkable grace and charm. Despite her noble upbringing, she possessed a kind and gentle heart, endearing her to all who knew her. As the day wore on, Prince Ifesinachi was summoned to meet Princess Oma. Reluctantly, he made his way to the meeting, his mind still consumed with thoughts of Odira. Upon meeting Princess Oma, the king proudly introduced her as his son's betrothed. However, Prince Ifesinachi's reaction was far from what they expected. Angered by the arrangement, he declared vehemently that he would never marry Princess Oma and that his heart belonged to only Odira. His outburst left Princess Oma feeling hurt and confused, as she had believed that the prince held feelings for her as well. Despite her disappointment, the king and queen assured her that everything would be fine and urged her not to worry. Princess Oma was given a room in the palace and assigned a personal maid to attend to her needs during her stay. Though saddened by the turn of events, she decided to remain in Ezira for the duration of her visit, hopeful that things would eventually work out for best. The following day, Princess Oma mustered up her courage and made her way to Prince Ifesinachi's chambers. To her surprise, she found him in tears, his heart heavy with sorrow over Odira's imprisonment. Despite his grief, the prince refused to eat or drink, consumed by thoughts of his beloved. Princess Oma approached him with compassion, seeking to offer him comfort in his time of need. But her attempts were met with anger and hostility, as the prince lashed out, demanding that she leave him alone. Undeterred by his harsh words, Princess Alma spoke from her heart, expressing her understanding and empathy for his pain. She assured him that she was not the kind of person to pursue someone who did not return her affections, but rather she believed in the mutual nature of love. With sincerity in her voice, Princess Oma vowed to help Prince Ifesinachi find happiness, even if it meant sacrificing her own desires. Touched by her kindness, the prince opened up to her, sharing his fears and hopes for the future. Together, they devised a plan to rescue Odira from the palace prison, determined to reunite her with Prince Ifesinachi once more. Under the cover of darkness, they set their plan into motion. That night, Princess Oma prepared a special concoction, adding a sleeping substance to a palm wine, disguised as a messenger from the queen. She delivered the wine to the guards at the prison door, claiming it was a gift from the royal family. Unsuspecting, the guards accepted the wine and drank greedily, soon succumbing to its effect and falling into a deep slumber. With the guards incapacitated, Princess Alma and Prince Ifesinachi seized the opportunity to rescue Odira from herself. Carrying her unconscious form, they made their escape from the palace under the cover of night, guided by Princess Alma's knowledge of the area. They sought refuge at the home of an elderly woman named Ijegu, who agreed to care for Odira in their absence. With Odira safely in Ijegu's care, Prince Ifesinachi and Princess Oma returned to the palace, their hearts heavy with weight of their daring rescue mission. But despite the risks they had taken, they knew that they had done what was right in order to save the one they loved. Morning broke over the palace, shattering the tranquility with chaos as the king and queen discovered Odira's escape. Panic gripped the palace as they interrogated the guards on duty, demanding answers about the mysterious wine that had led to their slumber. In a clever disguise, Princess Alma had orchestrated the daring rescue, posing as one of the palace maids to avoid suspicion. The guards, unaware of her true identity, had been easily deceived, attributing the drugged wine to a maid's supposed gift from the queen. Furious at Odira's disappearance, the king issued a stern decree commanding the guards to find and bring her back immediately, threatening their consequences if they failed in their task. Even the palace maids were subjected to punishment as the king sought to uncover the truth behind Odira's escape. Meanwhile, Prince Ifesinachi and Princess Oma joined in the search, feigning concern in a pretense to conceal their true intentions. But in their hearts, they rejoiced at Odira's newfound freedom, determined to keep her safe from harm. Back at Ijego's house, Odira regained consciousness, her heart pounding with fear as she realized she had been escaped the clutches of the palace prison. But Ijego, with a gentle demeanor, reassured her and urged her to remain hidden until the prince arrived. As days passed, Odira found solace in Ijego's care, grateful for the refuge she had found in the old woman's home. But Ijego couldn't help but notice a mark on Odira's back, a mark that was unique to the royal family. Though she kept her suspicion to herself, she knew that Odira's true identity was a secret worth protecting. When Prince Ifesinachi and Princess Oma arrived at Ijego's house, Odira's heart leaped with joy at the sight of her beloved prince. They embraced, their reunion filled with tears and gratitude and relief. Odira thanked the prince profusely for his bravery, while Princess Oma was praised for her cunning plan. As they discussed their next steps, Ijego couldn't shake the feeling of her unease. With the prince's reluctant consent, she examined his back and confirmed her suspicions. The mark matched that of the royal family, but she chose to keep her discovery to herself. biding her time until the moment was right to reveal the truth. With Odira safe for now, Prince Ifesinachi urged her to remain hidden until the storm passed, promising to return for her once the danger had subsided. And as they bid her farewell, Odira's heart was filled with hope, knowing that she was not alone in her struggle. As Prince Ifesinachi and Princess Oma departed from Ijego's house, little did they know that they were being followed by palace guards, secretly ordered by the king to track their movements. Upon their departure, the guards emerged from their hidden spots and descended upon Ijego's humble abode, arresting both Ijego and Odira without mercy. Brought before the king and queen, Ijego and Odira pleaded for clemency, but their pleas fell on deaf ears. The queen and king were stunned by the revelation of Princess Oma's betrayal, unable to comprehend how their trusted ally could have worked against them. Summoned before the royal couple, Prince Ifesinachi and Princess Oma faced accusations of treachery, their secrets laid bare for all to see. The king decreed that both Ijego and Odira would pay for the defiance with their lives, despite the prince's desperate pleas for mercy. In a moment of desperation, Ijeko broke her silence, revealing a truth that would shake the palace to its core. With trembling hands, she lifted Odira's dress, exposing the royal birthmark on her back, an undeniable sign of her true lineage. Shock rippled through the palace as the king and queen grappled with the revelation. Queen Omalugo rushed to Odira's side, embracing her tightly as tears flowed freely down her cheeks. The queen's confession shattered the silence as she revealed the long-held secret she had shared with late Queen Neka and the midwife Nwaka. Tears streaming down her face, Queen Omalugo begged for forgiveness, recounting the agonizing decision to separate the twins in order to save them from certain deaths. She pleaded with the king to forgive her for depriving him of the knowledge of his own children, and begged Prince Ifesinachi for hiding his own sister from him. Amidst the turmoil, Prince Ifesinachi stood in shock, grappling with the revelation that the girl he had fallen in love with was, in fact, his own twin sister. Unable to comprehend the enormity of the truth, he stood frozen, his heart heavy with sorrow and confusion. Princess Oma, overcome passionate, held Ifesinachi close, offered him solace in his time of need, as tears flowed freely throughout the palace. And amidst the chaos and confusion, Odira could do nothing but weep, her entire world turned upside down by the revelation of her true identity. Time passed, and Odira warmly welcomed into the king's palace as the crown princess of Azira kingdom. The king and queen showered her with love and affection, making up for all the years lost. Meanwhile, Prince Ifesinachi, after shedding tears of both sorrow and relief, decided to embrace Odira as his sister. He expressed his happiness that they were twins, declaring that their bond as family would remain unbreakable and their love for each other would endure forever. Odira thanked him warmly and they hugged tightly, calling each other brother and sister. Princess Odira inquired about Princess Oma, and Ifesinachi informed her that she had left as soon as Odira had settled into the palace. Determined to reconnect with her newfound sister-in-law, Odira suggested visiting Umudiki. Ifesinachi readily agreed, and together they set out on the journey. Upon arriving at Umudike, Princess Oma greeted them with open arms, delighted to see Prince Ifesinachi and his twin sister. They spent the day reminiscing, laughing, and creating new memories together. As they prepared to depart, Odira took hold of Ifesinachi and Oma's hand, joining them together and expressing her joy at their bond. She encouraged them to get married, eagerly anticipating the day when Princess Oma would officially become her sister-in-law. Ifesinachi and Oma embraced each other, their hearts full with love and happiness, while Odira clapped her hands cheerfully. With hearts filled with joy, Ifesinachi and Odira returned to Ezira Kingdom, ready to embrace their new roles in the royal family. Princess Ihe, having returned home, welcomed Odira with open arms, completing the reunion of the royal family. And so, Odira found joy and happiness with her true family after many years of longing. The royal family reunited, stronger than ever, and looked forward to a brighter future ahead. As for Ifesinachi and Oma, their love continued to blossom, paving the way for a new chapter in the kingdom's history. With smiles on their faces and love in their hearts, they all lived happily ever after. And so, the story came to a beautiful and happy end. Lessons from this story. The story is about love, forgiveness, and the importance of family. Odira's journey teaches us that family is not just about blood relations, but also about love and acceptance. Despite the challenges she faced, Odira found love and support from unexpected places, showing us that family can come in many forms. Another lesson is about forgiveness. Even though Odira's true identity was kept from her for many years, she chose to forgive her parents and embrace them with love when she discovered the truth. This teaches us that forgiveness is a powerful tool that can heal wounds and strengthen relationships. Lastly, the story highlights the importance of standing up for what is right, even in the face of adversity. Principe Sinachi and Princess Oma risked their own safety to rescue Odira from unjust punishment, showing us that we should always stand up for those who need help, no matter the consequences. In summary, the story teaches us that love, forgiveness, and standing up for what is right are essential values that can help us build strong and happy families and communities. Thanks for watching this exciting and amazing story on African Stories. If you liked the story, please show your support by clicking the like button, sharing with your friends, and leaving a comment below. To see more interesting stories and learn more about African cultures, subscribe to African Stories and don't forget to ring the notification bell so you will never miss a new story. Your support means a lot and helps us bring more stories to you. Until we meet again, stay connected, stay inspired, and keep smiling.